Whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Oh, that was. Oh. I'm gonna set record. Go on every time I'll edit any, extraneous. Yeah.
Welcome to a very, very, very special episode of the Lafayette Cafe. We rock our own radio, recording live from parts unknown.
What do you mean? It's the Lafayette Cafe, man. Go ahead, say something.
It is July 8th. We have a very, very special guest. A lot of y'all have been asking, when are we going to have this gentleman on? He is very busy. We respect his time, but we got a hold of him somehow. Eerie Canal is with us today. Eerie, how are you, my friend?
I'm wonderful. What's going on, fellas?
Word on the street is you just got back from Phoenix, AZ, and it was...
Oh my God!
It was a chilly 115 degrees out in that month.
Yeah, see, that's the funny thing about word on the street. I was there in spirit. My partner, Jason Michael Barton, was actually just a victim of a police assault in Arizona. So there was a protest staged at the Mesa Police Department. And I wasn't there physically, but I was there in spirit to give my support. And I guess I'm always in Arizona. You know what I mean? So
no doubt. We hope that his troubles are light then, and that the outcome is favorable.
Yes, keep us up on that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll promote that. We'll definitely get that out there.
But how have you been, my friend? You have some new music that you're recording. That you
Yeah.
get out there soon.
Yeah. I'm working on new music. It's been a crazy year, 24 months. Just the recent history of my journey has been kind of out of control.
You were born in Rochester?
Yeah, born and raised. The namesake, of course, but yeah.
I know that your upbringing wasn't the most idealist. However, you'd like to speak to the people listening about that, like what you had to go through.
Yeah, my upbringing mirrors a lot of people's journey, I think. As a child, I was deemed what's called ward of the state, and that's when a board of people who sometimes don't have children make decisions based upon the environment. So the rights of both my parents are terminated, and that began a journey through foster care, group homes, eventually prison, and a lot of the systems that were implemented supposedly to correct those situations. And from the inside out, I know that oftentimes it destroys people. My passion just for being alive, I think, helped me make it through it.
When you were in foster care, who did you bond with? What types of adults or what adults in your life did you ultimately look up to or gravitate to?
I didn't bond with anybody, you know what I'm saying? I think that experience actually adds a mistrust for children, for adults. And that's where almost the popular icons and idols get their power in our lives, because that's who I looked up to. People who are out of reach, so they couldn't disappoint me, they couldn't hurt me. So that's where your musicians, your actors, and the theatrical community becomes a focus.
What type of music were you into as a child? Kind of getting into your
Oh
interest in
no.
hip-hop.
Okay. So this is gonna make people hopefully inspect my music more. But being that I was in foster care, a lot of the foster parents have to have a veneer of uprightness to even become foster parents. So I wasn't allowed to listen to hip hop as a child. I listened to shit like Rod Stewart and Aretha Franklin and stuff my foster parents would play. Soft rock, and I fell in love with it because it's played throughout the house.
Right.
So those are my main influences. And then when I got to choose, because of that beginning, I chose oldies like 70s, Motown. That was my stuff. That's what I fed off of. My first, I guess, love affair with hip-hop would be Bone Thugs and Harmony, because it had that rhythmic sound as well as the intricate lyricism. So all those things became this mix that is Eerie.
We may have to take Bone Thugs off of the banned list. Just
What?
for brand.
Did you do that? I didn't ban Bone Thugs.
Oh my goodness, what is going on?
We'll get back on topic.
Yeah, I can't deal with a lot of
We had words
I
off air one day. I think there's a huge conceptual gain though from being exposed to rock or soul or pop or just music that is beyond the realm of contemporary hip hop and R&B.
Right.
I see kids who do have that open-mindedness from a young age to be experienced to those kind of sounds, and kids who just mostly stick to rap, which is cool too. But I think it all kind of develops your not only your musical acumen but your appreciation for the arts and how you mold yourself in
anything that sounded good to me. I wasn't really caught up on genres when I was young. I mean, it was, if it sounded good,
it was
I'm
about the
listening
feeling.
to it.
Right.
If it made me, those chords hit me, I'm listening.
Right.
So I mean, that's just that was me. But I mean, a lot of it does come from what you're doing now does come from your background. I mean, what you were exposed to as a kid. So that makes a lot of sense.
When did you start rhyming?
I started rhyming. Okay, I've changed the story a couple times. That doesn't mean I've lied, but I had to really inspect when I started rhyming. So now, in retrospect, I started rhyming at Job Corps. that was the first time I was around kids from New York City. And Job Corps, they were doing a cypher one day, and I'm listening. I'm like, damn, they're cool. The girls are watching them. So I'm like, I could do that shit. So I jumped in and started freestyling. And my name at that point was Quick Spits. That's right. I don't. Ridiculous.
We've all had our
right.
Yeah. I can remember Sizzle ciphers back in the day.
That's hot though.
But, yeah.
Sizzle ciphers, Quick Spits is like
you gotta pull it KWIKSPITZ.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But that was my first exposure to it. Thinking of myself as an artist happened in prison. I was in Green Correction, which is a medium level facility in New York State. And
whereabouts is that located?
I don't fucking know. The mountains. The mountains somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But some obscure location, not to be named, right? But that was when I sat down and saw myself as a writer. Again, the cipher pops up. I'm around kids from New York City. I get a flashback of Job Corps, and now I have the time to actually begin to compose what I want to say. Right. And I took advantage of it. I mean, I wrote hundreds of songs while I was in prison. And that's when I began to say, when I get out, I think I want to present myself as a musician, as a lyricist. And that's where I got the name, was in prison. So when I got released in 2010, I was Eerie Canal.
That's what's up.
And shout out to Cap C. Cedric said once upon a time, when you are incarcerated, even though you are on someone else's time 24/7, you do have a good deal of time to yourself, either left with your thoughts or, you know, left with a pen and pad, or pen and pencil, or pad and pencil in your cell,
right,
to either write or, you know, get it together mentally.
That opportunity.
Was there something therapeutic about molding your skills as a lyricist and an artist while you were locked up?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, the first feeling when you're incarcerated is that you've been taken away from the world. But then you realize that prison is a world in itself,
right,
and you need an escape from that too. And that's what the pad became for me, was a place for me to create a new world, even a new me. And it becomes idealistic, where if everything was right, how would it sound? What would I be wanting? What would I be doing? And I watch people react well to that. You know, people write street stories a lot, but that separated, objective viewpoint made me feel empowered. You know what I'm saying? So, hell yeah. I mean, you develop, you articulate, you mold this character, and I took it very seriously. You know what I'm saying?
When did you start recording music in Rochester, and who were some of the cats you linked up with?
Well, I started recording in 2010 as soon as I hit the street. The first person I linked up with name was Vice Versa, DT Orchestra Boy. So he, from what I had heard, he was an underground legend. At this point, I didn't know it. You know what I'm saying? But I knew that I wanted to work with people from Rochester because I didn't know we had a music scene.
Right.
So my introduction was like, wow, all you guys do music? This is my hometown. How come I never knew it? And it's just because I wasn't a part of that vibration at that time. So I linked up with Vice Versa. I linked up with, you know, almost now everybody you can name. I linked up with Dawn Status. They invited me to record with them. I linked up with Cole Summers, Ito. They invited me to record with them. You know, I linked up with almost everybody who was already moving, and I got such a great embrace from people. It was really inspiring, you know what I'm saying? And people who remember 2010, 11, and 12 was big for Rochester music.
Yeah, it was. That underground scene was
booming. Yeah. And I'm arrogant enough to say I played a part in it because it didn't exist to me before I was in it.
Right. Talk about the Rock Relics showcases at Waterston. You said that you helped coordinate.
Yeah, Rock Relics was my first attempt at instigating something. Every time it was a bill that was already built that I was paying to get on, and then having to sell tickets, hopefully to recoup some of the money I spent, and then promoting the show as well. So I'm actually working for the person who created the event just to make back money. I was charged to participate. And I'm not knocking the hustle, but that was what it was everywhere I went.
That's basically
so
right now,
I had a Cat Ciadella had a link at Water Street, and I told him I want to throw a show. I know enough people. I've been performing enough to where I want to be the one to invite. I want to set the theme for the event and throw it. And Rochester Rap Relics was my first attempt to do that. I invited out Golden. I invited out Illinois, Ito, and a lot of cats came out and rocked, and we had a great time. A couple mistakes were made, but again, it was my first time. And I see myself soon doing that again.
How do you come into the business, entrepreneurial, organizational acumen? Like a lot of cats have their artistic game on lock. They have their personal voice. They have their mission statement as an artist on lock. But understandably, when it gets to the behind the desk work, a lot of cats don't know where to begin. And that's fine, but you have shown that you're a step above that. Like,
right.
How did you all put it together mentally?
I put it together. It came together itself mentally. I can tell you what motivated me to pursue that aspect was my passion. I wanted music to have an impact on this city in a certain way, and I couldn't do it just being an artist waiting for an invite or asking or paying to show up and then hoping my performance was so dope that people approached me. So I just started using my phone. You know, everybody's got Facebook, everybody's got this, and I started reaching out to the people I were meeting. And instead of as an artist saying, I'm Brandon, I had to almost let Eerie step aside and say, hey, I can bring Eerie to your place, but I want to be a part of bringing other people I think can be volatile.
Right.
Volatile. Right. Volatile in instigating some activity in the night scene. And again, I'm just a voracious learner. So when it came to the business side of it, passion drove me to look into it. And then my personality made me say, I have to do this a new way. And I just went at it.
Okay, so you basically get into it and then just get into it, basically.
Yeah, I jump in the pool.
Yeah.
I jump in the pool. There are people who are better at it than me who specialize in it. And that's one thing I don't want to do, is wear myself thin trying to play all positions when I truly want to be an artist.
Right.
But if I feel like there's a necessity for me to explore that business side of myself, then I'm going to do it because my purpose hasn't changed.
Right.
This is the Lafayette Cafe presents We Rock Our Own Radio for WAYO 104.3 FM. We're talking to Eerie Canal. Your spirituality and your religious beliefs are very important to you. What does this mean in an area where we're kind of seeing a shift, but for a long time, rap was very nihilistic and very violent and very kind of the ends justify the means, and what I'm about is what I'm about.
Right. Interesting, right? Because I got into hip-hop history late. But the God MC has always existed, right? And religion only plays a role in what I do as someone who's been impacted by it. I don't consider myself a religious person. And I don't consider myself spiritual as most people take that term. Spirit is breath. We're all breathing. We're all spiritual beings. I love theology because it's artistic. I love different schools of religious thought because it's artistic, it's poetic. And I recognize a lot of people are trapped by the concepts they've accepted from religious doctrines. So that gives me a key in the door. If I speak on something, it doesn't matter my position on it. If I know it's in your heart and mind, you have to pay attention, even if it's just to hear me and reject it.
Right.
So it plays a big part because I want to be effective. I want to be effective. And for all the people listening who see some things that may throw them off, I know God exists. I don't deal with belief. Belief is not my game. My game is I know what I know, and then I'll go into other people's beliefs almost as an adversary, which they call a Satan, just to challenge you to investigate what you have held so truly. And that's violating on some terms.
And I'm glad you said that, because there's so many people that come to me like, yo, that kid Eerie, man, I can't get into what I mean. He be killing me, man. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But you shocking him. So your name,
right?
You talking to me about it, kid. I mean, that's you're telling me, yo, I don't. You're telling me you don't want to listen to the dude, but you've already done it.
It's already in there.
So it's already in there.
Yeah.
So I feel you with that. And I always tell people, man, listen to it. Listen to this kid, man.
Yeah.
Don't just. I mean, the book. The cover of the book, I'm telling you, it's gonna make you pick it up. But if you don't read it, you're not really gonna know.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So
you can appreciate the artistry, of course, and not be able to empathize with the message per se. I like the gospel singer Andre Crouch. I'm not a Christian, but I can appreciate his talent. I can appreciate the feel and the tenor of the music.
Right.
You know?
Right. You definitely can. I mean, sometimes the music transcends what you're thinking. Man.
And that's a big key of bringing up religion and spirituality. Because the word is supposed to have an impact on you.
Right.
So if you hear a word, like for me, that you haven't heard before, but it's having an impact, investigate that feeling. That's why Eerie is like spooky. It's not a good thing, but it's only accompanied by moments that supersede what you're used to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm okay with being the bad guy because my job is to bring an energy that forces you to pause. You know what I mean?
That's what's up. And that brings a new spin.
Yeah.
And what's what we want to do? We want to bring it out. We want to let everybody know.
This is the rock,
right
man.
here. Yeah, man.
Come on, we got a responsibility.
Are there a lot of questions in your life or truths you're seeking that you still haven't found yet and you're looking for, or others that you have found in the past?
I'm not seeking any truths now. I've traveled quite far. You know what I'm saying? In terms of thought and stuff like that. Now it's honestly back to where I began, which was hope, and I'm seeking to be more effective. I know exactly what I want to do. I know exactly what my music is supposed to be doing. So now I'm really experimenting on different ways of doing it because I have found the truth. I am someone who holds on to the fact that the truth is one, and maybe it can't be expressed in words. I'm okay with that. Saying that when someone says, well, tell me the truth as you see it, maybe it's not meant to be heard, but felt. You know what I'm saying? And that goes back again to many different ways, of branches, many different branches on one tree, that kind of thing. So I'm always learning. I'm an eternal student, but I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm just enjoying the experience.
And you are a family man as well. How has becoming a father impacted your artistry and changed you as a man?
Oh, man. You know, having children in this world, I'll say, having children in this world has been co-opted. You know what I'm saying? I made a post the other day on my social media about if a child is a bill that must be budgeted and financed before you have the permission to create it, where has the value of life gone? You know what I'm saying? I named my first daughter Eden. So if, you know, in certain poems, God's favorite creation was a place called Eden, and I gave birth to a child named Eden, my only job is to create the garden that is her name so she doesn't feel disconnected from the world she's in. So I say in another song called Thanks for My Child, my children are my reason for existing now. If they're not here, I don't really care if I'm here or not. The only mystery is what's on the other side. So my children actually become my foundation for existing, because my story is going to become their echo that they follow. So, you know what I'm saying? It's not about morality. It's really, I want to be her hero. So of course that's going to affect my music, because if she says my dad raps and someone says I never heard of him, I don't want to chink in her perception of me. So, you know, we got to get the Eerie Canal.
And that goes into a lot of fathers' heads. Like, even when you pick your child up, first, you're thinking, oh, yes. The next thing you're thinking is, oh, my God.
Wow. Right.
Oh, my God. I've got things to do just to... And you also, you can never say, being a person, or being a parent, that I don't give a damn about what anyone thinks.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And that goes along with your statement.
Right.
You have to care what someone thinks now, because
that's the echo.
There's the echo.
Right.
And now let's get into the King's Faith, man.
Goodness.
Movie, man. Let's get into that. Like, that's like the big thing that got people's neck turning. Like, yo, like that's the kid from that.
I put it up to your feed right there. That is the movie, and that is you. That is you, correct? Right there.
Yeah, that's me.
Good looks. Made it right on the poster.
Yeah, right on the poster. I mean, I saw the movie. I mean, I searched for the movie one time and couldn't find it nowhere. And one day I'm just sitting back chilling, and it was on BET, and I'm like, oh, there it is. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, yo, you played an excellent part in this movie, man.
Thank you.
I mean, the scenery caught me too, because when you see it on screen, you're like, it doesn't look the same, but then you're like, oh, oh my God, that's Rochester.
Had you done a lot of acting prior to that?
I had never acted in front of a camera
there you go.
In my life. I've played many characters in my life for other people, but in front of a camera, I had never done it. The interesting thing about King's Faith is that for people who saw it and said, wow, this guy must be connected, that's not the facts. I had no manager. I had no management team. I had no one but my social media and my desire for opportunity. That's it.
There you go.
And for heads who aren't hip to it, what's a plot summary of the film?
Okay, the plot summary is about a young kid named Brendan who is a member of a gang. And at the beginning of the movie, the gang's trap house is raided. Everyone goes to jail. Brendan is the youngest member, so he goes to juvie and gets a second chance. He gets a new foster home because he's in foster care at this time. And he gets sent out to the suburbs, starts a new school. The rest of the gang comes home from lockup, and they want access to a stash of drugs that was hidden before the police raid so they could begin again their enterprise. Brendan has found faith in God while he was locked up and doesn't wish to have any parts of it. So that battle to hold on to his faith or to go back to the streets, either to stop the gang from going back to their destructive behavior or to help them go back, is the battle that he must fight. And you know, you have to watch the movie to see the outcome.
No spoilers on the Lafayette.
I played the bad guy.
Okay. And how was that? The story sounds like it would have particular resonance with you.
Yeah. Me and the director of the film, actually, he's a great guy by the name of Nick DeBella. Me and him had a conversation. You know, it's interesting, the Kanye West thing. I want to throw that in real quick.
Yeah, sure.
About mental health and how it affects people. And, you know, I was in the middle of some issues and some struggles with my mental health based upon, I think, sometimes my deep thinking and the inability to find someone who relates to the concepts I'm speaking of. So during the midst of that, me and the director had a back and forth where I said, this is my life story. King's Faith is my life story. It doesn't matter that you didn't know it, but the main character's name is Brendan. You've never been in a foster home. You've never gone to jail and read the Bible for 6 months straight like I did. This is my story. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, no, it's not. You know, a lot of people have. So, yeah, it touched the chord. You know what I'm saying? I felt like my story. Right. And then, interestingly enough, I'm playing the bad guy in my own story and teaching someone to be me. I mean, I took the guy from Hollywood, Crawford Wilson, great guy, but I walked him around the movie set and gave him pointers on how to connect to this character because I know this character. By the way, my name is Brandon. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, oh, you know. So it was
you will see that
That's
a lot
amazing.
if you're doing a feature film or a play or even a music video. It may be out of the director's sphere of what he is acquainted with. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You have had bougie white directors direct some superb black action films, but it's kind of to what degree must the actors consent to the director's vision? Or what degree does the director say, I'm going to let the actors kind of roll with it here? Because this is their world, this is the world that they're entering.
To me, after you want a good product, you're going to have to let everyone be a part of it.
Right.
You can't just, oh, this is my way, right? I mean, that may work for whoever, you know, however it works for whoever, but it's not going to work all the time.
Some directors are super meticulous. It's like 50 takes until I see what I want.
Right.
But it's not going to work in Rochester.
And speaking of that, what's interesting about Nick DeBella is that concept you were just speaking of, he was big on that. Give me some input, guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Help me bring this vision out because he acknowledged that we may have more experience with it.
Right.
The fact was just that at that moment, like I said, my thing was, no, I'm trying to show you something that's behind the scenes that you don't see happening. The Almighty's lining this up. This is my story. And he's like, what are you saying? Saying I stole it? And I didn't mean it that way, but
of course, you know, in that field, Hollywood, you know, there's scripts being taken every time. So you're probably thinking like, oh.
Right, you know, and it was just a blessing to work with the kind of team that was, you know, really receptive and working through that with me. And we have a great relationship today, and we're actually planning on doing some stuff in the future.
That's what's up, and that's the big thing. It's the connections and the bridges that we make.
Yeah,
that's perfect. Now let's go over that hill right now. Man.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about them black trucks, man. About the
oh man, you funny. You brought up the black trucks. For all the people who
I drive a black truck, by the way. Is this what we're speaking?
I wouldn't doubt it.
It's a Dodge Ram. So do you drive a black truck? That's it.
So interestingly enough, for those who see King's Faith, when we're arrested, I'm going to give you a tiny bit of a spoiler. In the film, when the gang is arrested, 2 members of the gang get put into a white police trooper. I am the only one put into a black sedan. Okay? So take what you want out of that. So, the black trucks. I was marketing the album that I actually did with Jason Michael Barton. And the album is called Symbolic Nature. And just that phrase in itself means everything we see, we were converting into symbols and revealing the hidden meaning, and that was the marketing scheme. Right. So during the final phase of the album's release, we were planning on releasing it on Tupac's birthday, 2014, 6/16/14. And leading up to it, poor decision, but in full disclosure, I took some LSD. Bloop. Right on the tongue. And it blew my mind wide open. And I am a channel, an Eerie Canal. I was a pure channel. Whatever came into my mind, I was putting it out there. But I got social media in front of me.
Yeah. Right.
And the thought that came to my mind was, and this is the program, a little bit of the Bible mixed with a little bit of hip-hop world. And I said, all the people who think they have authority in this world, you're about to be shown something. And the phrase came out of my mind as, get ready to die. That was an unfortunate choice of words. I posted, get ready to die on 50 million social media pages. I'm talking about, I was tagging Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Kanye, and a couple other people who ended up on a criminal indictment. And the basis was basically, Brandon, we understand what you're saying now. Tell it to the judge. And I was charged with threatening to kill the president based upon a promotion for the Symbolic Nature album. The black sedans did show up. The German Shepherds were there. The AKs were there. And I was barefoot in Captain America shorts like, what is going on? I didn't mean it that way. And they were like, yeah, all right.
And then there's the thing. The meaning of it got twisted. Folks.
Absolutely.
It wasn't this man plotting any terroristic
ridiculous.
type of deal. I mean, that's the truth that I want to be put out there. Like, I mean, we are here to express ourselves artistically or whatever. I mean, as long as it's not invading anyone else's situation, express yourself. Man. I mean.
And my thing is, if it is a cautionary
let's
tale,
not do LSD.
Even if it is a cautionary tale, right. and even if I remove my emotions from it and say this is freedom of speech, I can say what the heck I want, regardless of how you take it.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not our reality. Allow what I went through to be an example of that. I don't want to be a messenger for fear to say you have to watch what you say. I'm still going to tell people, say what you want, just know other people have the right to take it how they want and force you to face people who are going to say explain it and still not understand it.
In our country, freedom of speech means freedom to get your butt kicked for what you say. And that's basically what it is.
You can say it, the consequences are mine to dish out.
Right. You have the right to say what you want.
Right.
But some words come with knuckles and some words come with knuckles.
Right.
So I mean,
or black sedans and dogs. Right. How long was the whole ordeal when all of a sudden your trial proceedings?
Right.
Ultimately.
So this is what happened. The whole process in terms of physical custody lasted 18 months, and most of that was being flown around the country in what people who had been incarcerated called diesel therapy. The federal government likes to spend money changing bodies' hands. So I was flown to different ports, different states, where I would change custody, and each time it's a new booking of an account.
This was not a world tour with Muhammad, my man.
No, but it was a tour, right. And, all praise is due to the Most High because I met amazing people who were at different stages in their journey. I learned a lot. I was investigated by officials in the government, and what was interesting to me was that they weren't interested if I wanted to hurt anyone. It's almost like they knew. Yeah. They were more interested in who I was, what my music was about. They asked a lot of questions about King's faith. And that almost calmed me to the point where I still believe and know that there's something going on in everybody's life that they're not aware of, and if you stay true to yourself, you will be all right. It may take some time. It may put you in a place you don't want to be, but it's a part of that journey.
What did you think about Barack Obama?
I was incarcerated when he won the presidency, and I almost cried. That's how much hope just that symbol was. I'm in jail. I know right now niggas ain't getting out of jail because we got a black president. But his symbol was so powerful and life-changing that it was love, free. I was inspired just to see him. You know what I'm saying? And those emotions have never changed. The moment that I made the phrase I made still doesn't change. Because we are all mortal beings. Right. Do I have the right to remind you of your mortality? And do people who are paid to protect you have the right to say, we're going to view this as a danger? Of course you do. So it's about finesse. So how do I feel? I feel like we need him back. I feel like his My Brother's Keeper initiative needs to no longer be a ghost. Because I heard of it, I was inspired by it. Where is it now?
Understood and acknowledged. To the layman, that is how it rung out on the streets, though. Eerie Canal was arrested for making a threat to the president. Eerie Canal is an anarchist, for lack of a better word.
Right. So your name is basically symbolic with oh yeah, they really do come. Like, you can't, because we all thought that, like if you said something strange, but
so in the end game,
that kid Eerie Canal, so you better watch it.
Was Barack Obama a politician first and a black man second?
Of course,
come down to
of course it does. Of course it does. And I think that was something in the psyche that we all felt. And a bigger message to what you said was, what's really going on Facebook and Twitter? Right. Who's truly watching what you post? Because the question is, what's on your mind? Think about it. If someone
Right.
found your journal under your bed, the first thing you'd say is, those are my private thoughts. You
Right.
don't have the right to read that.
Right.
But Facebook will ask you what's on your mind. You'll write it and expect people
Right.
to comment and respond.
And be upset when no one does.
Oh, ain't that something?
It's always interesting how, especially in the post-Columbine world, rap was pretty much the only artistic arena where the majority of violent threats we interpreted as facetiousness. It's part of the rapper's. It's part of the rapper's presentation.
Yeah.
Right.
Nas said, "Gonna kidnap the president's wife without a plane." Then that was during the first George Bush era. It was
Right.
92 when he dropped that rhyme.
He talked about
But Nas
shooting
wasn't.
popes and everything.
Yeah. And Nas was never brought up on federal charges.
Right.
He was stalled a little bit with his production,
Business dealings.
Yeah, prediction. But they told him to calm it down a little bit. But I mean,
Nothing like showing up at his house
yeah,
with a black truck.
something like that.
And other rappers have spit, conspiratorial type rhymes
Of course.
about,
Still
government
do.
working. So that's always fascinated me that
Some are
it's-
allowed and some aren't.
it parallels kind of if everyone is speeding on the highway and a state trooper pulls you over. Why did you pull me over? Everyone else was speeding. Yes, son,
Right.
but I caught you.
Right.
Everyone
So-
else was talking about killing him or her or doing this to
We're
XYZ.
just gonna
Yeah,
focus
yeah.
on
When we heard
Right.
your record.
Right.
Right,
And
right.
all of that doesn't matter.
And what's
Right.
interesting is, it doesn't make the news, unfortunately, but
No.
during my time in custody, as I'm fighting to defend myself, because I chose to defend myself in lieu of having a representative, I found myriad of cases where hip-hop artists were arrested for threats in their music. It's just nobody knew it.
Right.
And I'm glad you framed it as pre and post 9/11, because it was post 9/11, and then the
Yeah.
target came into hip hop. I know there was stuff being said in other genres, but the only artists being arrested for saying something that could now be interpreted
Right.
in this Patriot Act world were the hip hop artists. So the hip hop police are still fucking real.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where-
yeah,
that-
yeah.
and that's
You're
where
good.
that's where it starts at. I mean, that's where all this music. To me, I feel like all this music is projected just to inject you with a reason to go to jail.
Right.
But everything that you listen to today will put you in everything that's popular on the radio.
Right.
that you
All the
listen to
concepts
today
spoken about
will
will get you
put
locked up.
It will get you locked up.
All of it. Molly Percocet, try it.
Locked up.
5 years a pill. Huh?
Running around the track, locked up.
That's a whole fact.
Thank you for talking about this, because for a
Yeah,
while
man.
it was like, can we talk to Brandon about this? Like, how does he feel about it? But
right.
we appreciate you sharing.
Right.
No, I appreciate the opportunity.
And the way you come across it is not, I don't want to hold something back. I love that you just came out and tell it, just tell it like it is, and that's what's up, man.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
To me, I know the mystique of it died down a little bit, but every time I mention your name, some of the first thing they mention is, ain't that the guy who tried to kill the president? I'm like,
and I'm like, where did right? And it's heartbreaking, because I think honestly, my pursuit of music in my hometown has been affected by
Right.
that. And I guess that's a lesson for me. But at the same
I'm
time,
cleaning it up, not right
then
now.
I
baby.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Word,
no
G.
doubt.
Word.
On to lighter fare.
Yes.
For head swaying hip to your music, what are three or
What have you
four?
been doing with your life?
What are 3 to 5 of your songs that you think stand out as your best work, or that Head's definitely got to? It'd be a good starting point to get into Eerie Canal.
Okay, if you want to know who Eerie Canal is, and I picked 5 songs, we're gonna listen to "Who's the Best," which is off the Ryan Keltenborn produced "The Exodus."
Shout out to Optics.
Ops,
He
for
does
sure.
he does good work.
For sure. We're going to listen to "Thanks for My Child," produced by Brian Curtis Sharp. Sharpie, that's a fact.
That's my boy.
We're going to listen to "Corazon," produced by Vice Versa,
Vice versa.
which is just a single I released, really speaking to my fan base before I even had one, because I felt that they were coming. We're going to listen to "Book of Matches," which is also produced by Vice Versa, and it's my sort of Pinocchio tale in reverse. Great song. And then finally, off the Jason Michael Barton produced "Symbolic Nature," everyone needs to listen to "Jesus Talks." It
Right.
features my brother Azariah, my cousin, family,
Let me
blood
get
in the
that.
flesh.
Let me get that one.
And with those 5 songs put together, "Jesus Talks," "Thanks for My Child," "Who's the Best," "Corazon," and "Book of Matches," even just those 5 phrases together, you'll see where we're headed.
That's quite the EP. As
Right.
And where can cats hit you up on social media?
On social media, Eerie Canal Raw is the new page I've created. I kind of had to start over. All my pages were co-opted by the officials and shut down. So Eerie Canal Raw on Instagram, Eerie Canal Raw on Facebook, and Eerie Canal is my personal profile, but I use them all to promote. So
thank you very much, brother,
Thanks
for
so
stopping
much,
through,
Jay.
sharing with us. This is Lafayette Cafe. We rock around radio. Eerie Canal taking time out of his busy schedule to chat with me and Cello.
Yeah.
Indeed. Thanks, guys.
You know.